The man witnessed car accidents on the road every day. Instead of rushing to rescue, he turned to the road center and pulled out nails from the ground. Clearly, he was the one who caused the accident. He owned an auto repair shop 200 meters ahead, driven by the desire to make more money. He deliberately scattered nails in the middle of the road. The trick worked immediately. That day, a young couple had their tire punctured and had to visit his shop for repairs. Exploiting the fact that his was the only repair shop nearby, he charged 1,800 yuan for a service that should have cost only 20 yuan. Though the couple was reluctant, they had no choice but to pay. That night, the man sneaked to the roadside to check the nails he'd scattered, only to find they had been rolled to the side by large trucks. This enraged him. He upgraded the nails and stealthily rescattered them in the road that night. The result was drastic. Early next morning, a vehicle crashed into a field. He hurried to the scene to destroy evidence, but the driver suddenly emerged, witnessed his actions, and fled in panic. Fearing exposure, the man chased after him desperately. For exactly 20 years, a man has been hiding in someone else's wardrobe.
Where the cat came from. She quickly explains that it's a friend's cat, staying at their house for a few days. Though somewhat displeased, her dad reluctantly agrees. After Bill leaves for work, the cat turns back into a man. He wanders around the house and finally finds a can of cat food. Just then, he hears a strange sound coming from her dad's room. Curious, he opens the door and sees her dad collapsed on the floor. The man is completely panicky. He picks up her dad and runs outside, not knowing what to do. The security guard recognizes the girl's father and quickly calls an ambulance. Thanks to him, her dad receives timely help, but when the guard turns around, the man has already vanished. He is turned back into a kitten. Bill rushes to the hospital as soon as she gets the call. Seeing her dad is okay, she finally breathes a sigh of relief. Yet no one knows who saved his life. At night, the man turns into a cat again, but miraculously, he transforms into a human whenever he gets close to the woman. So he crawls beside her, wondering how she will react when she wakes up and sees the man next to her. The man had intended to secretly take a photo of a stranger, but he didn't expect the flash to go off. His smile froze instantly, followed by a nosebleed. He stared fixedly at Billy. Someone stepped forward to pull the troublemaker away, but he kept shouting frantically for everyone to run. His girlfriend's father explained that the black man suffered from epilepsy and had been triggered by the flash, which caused his sudden episode. At that moment, the man also came over looking as if he had recovered. He apologized to everyone present for his behavior and also thanked his girlfriend's mother. It turned out that he had just undergone her hypnosis, but the male lead knew this was definitely not epilepsy, and he felt the man looked particularly familiar, as if he had seen him somewhere before. Meanwhile, an auction was quietly underway. The auctioneer was his girlfriend's father, and the one being auctioned was none other than the male lead. In the end, a disabled person won the auction. At the same time, the male lead also sensed that something was wrong. He went back to his room, sent the photo of that man to his police friend, and asked him to investigate. A few minutes later, his friend called back. Sure enough, this black man was an acquaintance they had known who had gone missing half a year ago. ago, yet now he had appeared in this small town. What on earth was going on? In any case, the male lead decided to leave immediately, but he inadvertently glanced somewhere and noticed a door was half open. Billy walked over and found a red box. When he opened it, there was a photo of his girlfriend with a black man. Flipping further back, there was another black man. All the photos, all of them were black men, all with intimate gestures, clearly her ex-boyfriends at a glance. When he flipped to the second to last photo, his blood almost ran cold. Wasn't this the male servant in his house? The last photo was of a woman, and yes, it was that female servant. Shocked, the male lead quickly closed the door. At this point, his girlfriend was already waiting beside him, but he didn't dare to ask more, only saying, "Let's leave quickly." When he went downstairs, he found his girlfriend's younger brother blocking the door, seemingly not intending to let him out. His girlfriend's parents also appeared. The male lead told his girlfriend to quickly find the car keys, but no matter how hard she looked, she couldn't find them. He couldn't help but shout. It seemed they had already torn off the pretense. His girlfriend took out the keys, but had no intention of handing them over. Billy instantly realized that his girlfriend was in cahoots with them. The man felt a sudden sense of despair. Billy was knocked unconscious by his younger brother. When Billy woke up again, he found himself tied to a chair.
While exploring the wilderness, a woman stumbled upon a cave. She stayed in the mysterious cave for only an hour, but when she came out, she was shocked to find that the earth seemed to have moved hundreds of years into the future. The outside had turned into a barren wasteland, and the air was filled with a strange and unpleasant smell. She took out her phone and tried to get a signal. When she looked up, she discovered that humans had migrated to the upper atmosphere. No one on the ground could respond as a massive sandstorm approached. Carla had no choice but to retreat back into the cave. At this time, her companions in the cave were still chatting and laughing, completely unaware of the seriousness of the problem. But after hearing her description, they didn't believe her. According to them, she had only been gone for 2 seconds. Was her words just a joke? Fortunately, they had brought a camera, which recorded several hours of footage. Within just 2 seconds, they finally realized the gravity of the situation. Time in the cave was passing, millions of times slower than the outside world. They noticed that the sunlight was flickering rapidly. At first, they thought it was due to the clouds, but they soon realized that each flicker represented an entire day. What they were seeing was the sun, rising and setting at high speed. At this moment, Billy felt regretful. She shouldn't have led the team on this expedition to find the legendary hot spring that could make people stay young forever. But Jesse looked up at the flickering sun and suddenly understood. The hot spring must be hidden in the cave. But by this time, the teammates had lost their patience. They thought that even if they found the hot spring now, it would be useless, because they would never be able to return home. Jesse believed that as long as they were alive, there was still hope. She hoped her teammates could trust her. Just then, the cave began to change. The prisoner deliberately threw the baseball near the barbed wire fence. Then he pretended to go fetch it. He boldly crossed the warning line. No one noticed him. He glanced at the guards in the distance, but the guards soon spotted him. He immediately raised his hands, signaling that he was just retrieving the ball. Faced with the officer's scolding, the man grinned smugly, because he had just confirmed something important. This spot was hidden from the view of the watchtower. That night, under the cover of darkness, he managed to escape by crawling through the barbed wire, but the guards recaptured him just 1 day later. Yet he seemed quite pleased, for all this was part of his plan. It turned out that the prisoners here were secretly plotting a large-scale escape. 100 prisoners were preparing to flee on the same day. Their plan was to dig a tunnel. The plan was soon put into action. They first sabotaged a water tap, splashing the guards with water. Then a group of them gathered to block the view. Someone slipped out from under a truck and stole 2 iron bars, quietly passing them to their teammates inside. With tools ready, they started breaking through the floor. After careful consideration, they chose to hide the tunnel entrance, using a hammer to work on the floor in the hut. Their accomplices kept watch outside. They would send a signal immediately if anything went wrong. After several days of work, they managed to dig about 30 feet, but a new problem arose: how to dispose of tons of dirt. What was worse, the soil underground was a different color from the soil in the camp. This put them in a dilemma. If they didn't clear the dirt in time, when the prison conducted its inspection the next day, their entire plan would be exposed. Soon, one of them came up with a suggestion.
She was blindfolded by her own husband. A piece of steel pressed against her tongue, rendering her unable to speak. It could only be removed when the man allowed it. She didn't dare to resist at all throughout the process. Disobedience would lead to even more brutal beatings. After her husband pulled out the key, she dared to cautiously turn her head. Just 3 mornings ago, he, as a father, actually peeked at his daughter taking a shower. His wife caught him, stopped him in time, and angrily reminded him that this was his own daughter. Not only did he show no remorse, but he also slapped his wife hard across the face. Then he took out a whip and flogged his wife mercilessly. Their young daughter Anna accidentally witnessed this cruel scene. Little Anna Anna couldn't understand why her father was so angry. That night, Anna had a severe stomachache. She hurried to the toilet. To her shock, she found blood on her pants. Frightened, she reached out to touch it, confirming that she was bleeding. She was terrified by what she saw. Suddenly, Anna heard a noise outside. She immediately blew out the candle. Through the crack of the door, she saw her mother silently following behind her father. Even though it was raining outside, she decided to go out to see what her father was doing. But this would be the most regretful decision she had ever made.
Give me the strength to lead her to the salvation provided by your grace. In Jesus' name.